By concentrating more on Robert Montague Renfield, Nicholas Hoult, Dracula's familiar and the perpetrator of the vampire's evil deeds, rather than the Count himself, played by Nicolas Cage, Renfield gives the Dracula story a much-needed update after over a century in movies. Renfield is no longer a devout follower of the great Dracula in this retelling. Instead, he is a man cursed to carry out the vampire's will in exchange for power, leaving him with no chance of ever settling down and meeting people he can care about and who care about him. He begins to find a new purpose for the power he has been granted and tries to find a way to stand up to Dracula with the aid of Rebecca Quincy, a police officer, and a support group for those in codependent and toxic relationships. In a fight with Dracula, Renfield attempts to defend himself by referring to a book called How to Defend Yourself from a Narcissist that was handed to him by the support group facilitator. When Dracula notices a sticker on the book's back indicating that it is from a church, he becomes enraged. He then murders everyone in Renfield's support group before leaving with his pet to see El Lobo, Shorey Agdaswu, a mob leader who can aid him in his goals for global hegemony. Renfield is now left at the crime site for Rebecca to take care of. Our major turning point is right now. From here, we can witness the outcome of our final conflict with Dracula and his army of bug-powered henchmen. Renfield is fighting Teddy, Ben Schwartz, Ella's kid, who has a good amount of Dracula's strength coursing through him, while Rebecca is being besieged by Dracula, who has promised to heal her sister with his blood if she joins him. But even if Dracula flees, they are all able to repel their invaders. Rebecca and Renfield complete their fight by pursuing Dracula together. On a Wiccan Tumblr account, Rebecca discovers the spell required to set up a trap circle for Dracula. Once Dracula is trapped, our heroes may beat the crap out of him with a variety of weapons, including maces, chainsaws, and holy water. Renfield and Rebecca ultimately dispose of what's left of Dracula's body by pouring cement into a drain and plugging it up. The group readily acknowledges that he might not actually be dead. Nonetheless, this should prevent him from rising again for quite some time. Blood from Dracula was collected in a pitcher. The Count's blood is said to be able to cure any wounds and even seem to bring the dead back to life quite early on, more on that later. There's always a chance that so much of that precious, sweet lifeblood will end up in the wrong hands since there is so much of it floating around. We also don't know what occurs when a lot of blood is consumed. We're also not sure if Renfield can still eat a few bugs and develop incredible strength and reflexes, since Dracula is currently dead. What will Renfield do with those powers if he can still utilize them? And is there a potential that Dracula will reappear in the future? This gives rise to a lot of sequel possibilities. Yet we end with enough closure for our favorite character to not need one. Renfield exacts his retribution. He beats Dracula in while chanting the mantras of his support group. I'm enough, I have enough, I'll be the one at full power. With this, Renfield finally escapes the vampire's control and can move on with his life. With a little assistance from Dracula's blood, he even manages to win back his friends from the support group. However, it appears that Mark, the head of the support group, is a little worse for wear as he speaks about things he can't unsee and can't unknow. Renfield appears content in the movie's climax. Despite everything he's been through, he is beginning to recover, and Rebecca is still by his side. For the time being, he is his own man and a hero. He is no longer a slave or a familiar. Our final image, nevertheless, is of the pitcher filled with Dracula's blood. All the individuals Renfield cared about were brought back, along with Rebecca's sister. It really is the ideal conclusion. Renfield's future, without the guy who once forced him to kill for him, is now given life by the blood of that man.